My 5th book, Painting Portraits in Watercolour, is going to be published at the end of September 2023. And I know it's really hard when you're ordering things online if you can't flip through them like you can in a bookshop. So I thought I'd do a flip through so that you can see whether this is the right book for you, whether you like the style of my painting and the subjects that I'm covering. It's published by the Crowwood Press, who published my other books. Possibly know what to expect from them in terms of sort of quality of presentation. There are 8 chapters and a bit of an introduction. In the introduction, I just share my sort of philosophy really about portrait painting. I think they should be fun, lively, and I explain why I think watercolours are so lovely. The whole book turns things on its head. A lot of portrait books start with, this is how you get a likeness. What I wanted to do is say, this is how you paint a portrait, this is how you paint a face using watercolours, and then at the end, once you've got some confidence, once you've got some experience, we'll go back to actually getting a likeness. These are 2 separate skill sets. So I suggest that we transfer the contours of the face to start with using different methods, and I explain those, and I talk about photo references and what to look for, but I do talk about some drawing exercises that you can start to train yourself with before we get to that last chapter. On chapter 2 we start with a monochrome portrait. I'm always saying that the tone is far more important than the colour. We can recognise this woman whether she is green, purple or pink. So we look at monochrome portraits, and I give you tips about adjusting your tone, and then there's a tonal portrait to go through, and then we take things a bit further by doing a tonal portrait but on a toned background. I thought it might be fun to show you the real paintings. These are some examples of monochrome portraits. Oh, that was the one that we actually go through in the book. But say this girl, we recognise her whether she's brown or blue. There's the guy that we do on the tone background, and actually this background is coffee rather than watercolour. Just thought it'd be a bit of fun. So chapter 2 we then start playing around with colour, and I take you through the colour wheel and some tonal exercises. Then we do a simple portrait, mixing our colours up, and then a slightly more considered one, again swapping colours round, and there are further examples. There's the young lad, another example there. There's the guy from the book. But throughout I'm sharing different examples where I have played around with the colours. In chapter 4 we go on to layering colours, and again there's more information about colour mixing and how to get different edges and so forth. I've tried to include techniques as we go through rather than having that first chapter, oh these are your materials, these are your techniques. So in this one I'm using a purple underpainting, which is loads of fun, and this one I'm using a blue underpainting. This is the layered portrait. I really love that look of expectation. I love that. Oh, here's an example of a blue underpainting. This is the guy with his purple underpainting. Girl with a blue underpainting. No, purple again. Oh, and she was a purple underpainting. Chapter 5 is all about line and wash portraits, which are brilliant fun. So there's lots of information about line and wash, different materials, and then I give you an example on white paper, taking it a bit further, an example on toned paper, and this is the cover image. Here she is on her white paper. Oh look, there's another example. That's actually from my line and wash online course. Here's an example on a toned paper, and there's matey with his very piercing, gorgeous eyes that appears on the cover. Chapter 6 takes things a bit further, so it talks about how you might rescue a failure by adding extra media and going a bit more mixed media. We talk about the collage. There's an example. We talk about adding in pastels on top of line and wash. There's an example. And then I do a portrait using gouache wash off, which is an ink resist technique, which is kind of fun. Let me show you a few examples. So this lady, I added some very shiny collage, or someone you might recognise. This is done on corrugated cardboard with some added white acrylic, Posca markers and things. Oh, that's the guy with his added pencil. Oh, another collage. Another collage with newspaper. Oh, and there's the guy with the ink resist technique, which I thought was a really sort of cool image. See, my portraits are all about being lively, accessible, capturing the character of people you know and love. Chapter 7 is about some special challenges, whether it's glasses or wrinkles or beards or teeth or whatever, and I try and give examples and guidance and pointers there. In chapter 8, so all that's happened, and hopefully by this time you'll have got some experience and confidence. So in chapter 8 we start on the drawing, capturing a likeness in your portraits, and I give you some ideas about ideal proportions, things to look for, and then we also go through a whole thing of upside down drawing, which is a brilliant way of training your eye, so that rather than having that expectation of, oh, I know what a face looks like, we turn it upside down and we start to see it as just shapes. And I take you through not only upside down drawing but upside down painting to get this guy. And just to prove that I really painted it, there he is. And right at the end we've got a list of all the different references used in the book. So I got all these images from Pixabay, because I thought I don't want to waste the space in the book saying, oh, this is the image we're painting. You can get them all online and get them in high resolution. And it's part of my training to you to help you find really good reference photos that you might work from. So they're all listed here. I also give some other artists who are painting in watercolour, really lively portraits in watercolour that you might enjoy. Obviously there are loads out there, but that's just a few to get you going. And then, oh, there's a gridding tool, there's a thing about the scar, a whole paragraph about Sketchy or the museum app, sources of photos, further reading. Obviously there's an index, and yeah, so that's 112 pages. Back of the book always has some good blurb and important things. It's got the ISBN number, so if you are ordering through a real bookshop rather than buying online, that'll help them order it. It's $12.99 in the UK, it's $19.99 in America, and $25.99 Canadian dollars. The North American publication will be in about 6 months' time. You should be able to order this via your local bookshop. It'll be available on Amazon. If you're outside the UK and don't want to wait for local publication, then Booktopia is quite a good place to find books with reasonable international postage as well. I hope that little flip through has told you that this will be a useful, happy book for you. And don't forget that I've got other books. These are the previous books. There are flip throughs of all these on YouTube, so you can have a look at them, and they're also available worldwide, or to order via your local bookshop.